Dear students, today we are going to discuss about our new lesson that is about gas exchange system. So first let me introduce that chapter. Okay, up to here we discuss about respiration, that what is respiration, the process through which our cell gets energy from the breakdown of glucose molecule, right? So today our new lesson is about gas exchange system. Right? All right. So what is gas exchange system actually? You know already that for the process of respiration, we need what? Oxygen, right? For we need oxygen. As a result of that, breakdown of glucose or oxidation of glucose will take place and it will give us what? Energy. For the process of aerobic respiration, we need oxygen. As a result of that, the oxidation or breakdown of glucose will take place and it will give us energy. Now, as a result of this breakdown of glucose, as a result of this respiration, also carbon dioxide will form. That's a waste product that should be removed from the body. Okay. Now, if you see here, this oxygen needs for your body. So this oxygen should enter to your body, while this carbon dioxide is a waste product and it should be eliminated or it should be go out from your body. Right? Now, taking off oxygen, right, for the process of respiration and giving out of carbon dioxide, this and giving out of carbon dioxide is called what? This is actually gas exchange system. There are different organs in our body that are responsible for what? For this exchange. And especially the most important organ, right? You know, like different organs together, like larynx, trachea, lungs, all together, and they make this gas exchange system. Within gas exchange system, lungs is the important organ that deal with this exchange of gases, right? Now, through this gas exchange system, we are taking oxygen from outside and we are removing carbon dioxide from our body. Okay, so this is which system? Gas exchange system, right? Let's suppose this is your gas exchange system. Windpipe or trachea, right? That divided into two from bronchi. Okay, then then this is lungs. Okay, these two are lungs. Okay, so okay, now this system is actually gas exchange system. Through this system, oxygen is entering to our body, right? We are taking oxygen from outside, okay, and that are entering to our body, and after that, that oxygen will mix with blood, right? When it mixed with blood, so through red blood cell, right? This oxygen will reach to your body cell for the process of respiration. So through this red blood cell, it will reach where? To your body cells for the process of respiration. Is it clear? So through your body cell, it will reach for the process of respiration. For example, these are your body cells. Okay, so this oxygen will reach to that cells for the process of respiration. Is a result of that, carbon dioxide will also produce that carbon dioxide have to go back. So through this gas exchange system, right? So it will go out from your body. It will eliminate by your body. So this carbon dioxide have to remove by your gas exchange system. I hope this is clear, right? All these organs of gas exchange system, I will discuss this in detail. Don't worry about that. For time being, just keep it in mind, like what is gas exchange system. This is just a basic concept of gas exchange system. So if you have a question up to here, you can ask from me. All right, Ahmed Tamil, your question is related with how is carbon dioxide go through red blood cell to lung back? My answer will be yes. Actually, carbon dioxide can go to lungs through blood in three forms. The first one is it can also bind with red blood cell. Second form, it can go through, in a soluble form in blood plasma, in the liquid part of blood, it can reach to lungs. In another form, this carbon dioxide can react with water and form carbonic acid. And that carbonic acid in blood plasma that can reach to your lungs. And that carbonic acid in your lung will convert back into carbon dioxide and water, and carbon dioxide will eliminate from your lung. Is it clear right now?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Good. Yes, anyone other? Yeah, the last part I can repeat it, okay? Once again, listen me very carefully, boys. Boys, let's see, for example, if it is oxygen, right? Okay, this is your lungs. This is your, okay, now, okay, now what will happen? Actually, if there is definitely outside oxygen is more, right? Is it clear? So if inside oxygen is less, right? So what will happen? This oxygen will move from out to in. And when it reaches to lung contains special sac-like structure called alveoli, right? So that oxygen will enter to your blood because, here in blood oxygen is less. Amount of oxygen is less. So this oxygen will enter to your blood, right? Now this oxygen is moving, that is entering to your blood, that is coming from out and then reach to lung and then entering to your lung by the process of diffusion from high, outside oxygen more, or in the lung when oxygen is more, in blood it is less. So that will move from higher region to lower region. And this process is called diffusion. Now, inside blood, carbon dioxide is more. Why? Because carbon dioxide produced is a result of respiration, right? If it's produced is a waste product, produced is a result of respiration, right? So this carbon dioxide is more as compared to outside. So by the process of diffusion, it will pass through the alveolar wall, right? And it will enter to the alveoli, and after that it will enter to the bronchiole, bronchi, and trachea. Means it will enter to your gas exchange system or to your windpipe, and it will go outside from your body. So this also, here also the process of diffusion take place. Okay, simply I will tell you, for our body we need oxygen. We are taking oxygen from outside by the process of diffusion. Why we need oxygen for our body? Because for the process of respiration we need oxygen. So inside our body, oxygen is less, outside is more. So I'm taking that by the process of diffusion. When it mixed with my blood, right? When it reached to lung, and from lung, when it entered to your blood, right? The blood contains carbon dioxide, right? Because that carbon dioxide already produced, or simple, for example, this oxygen reach to your blood, and this oxygen will, through blood, it will reach to your body tissue. And within tissue, it will utilize for in the process of respiration and your cell to produce energy. As a result of this carbon dioxide will produce. This carbon dioxide have to go back toward your lungs through blood. When it reach to lungs, so inside your blood, and your blood, carbon dioxide is more, is compared to outside, right? So this carbon dioxide will move from higher to lower, right? By the process of diffusion, it will eliminate from your body. Is it clear? Now taking off this oxygen, right? Taking off oxygen, right? And giving out carbon dioxide. Is it clear? This is called breathing. Now again, breathing consists of two steps. The first one in which I'm taking oxygen, right? So that is called what? This is called inhalation. While giving out of carbon dioxide is called exhalation. Exhalation means removing. Now this inhalation is also called inspiration, right? Yeah, or expiration. Expiration. Okay? Now, we have two steps of breathing: inhalation, taking off oxygen, and exhalation, giving out of carbon dioxide. So in this chapter, we will also study about what are the changes that will happen to your gas exchange system when I'm taking oxygen and giving out of carbon dioxide. Are the changes that, what are the changes that will happen in my body when I'm taking oxygen, or when I'm doing inhalation and giving and doing exhalation. Up to here, I hope this is clear. Properties of gas exchange surfaces. Remember, boys, and your lungs, right? Your lungs contain special sac-like structure called what? Alveoli. Alveoli is the actual place where gas exchange takes place, right? For example, this is your alveoli in your lung, right? So through this alveoli, gas means exchange of gases take place. For example, it is oxygen and your alveoli, so that oxygen will enter to blood through this alveoli. This is your blood capillary. Okay, this is your blood capillary, let's suppose. Okay, right? Inside your blood capillaries, these are what? Red blood cell. Okay, so oxygen will enter from alveoli to your blood. So this, while carbon dioxide will also move from blood to alveoli. Is it clear? So this process, this is gas exchange. While the surface through which this surface of alveoli are the wall of this alveoli. This is wall of alveoli. Through this surface, exchange is happening. So this is actually gas exchange surface. Gas exchange surface. This gas exchange surface should have some properties so that this exchange of gases take place in a efficiently. So for that reason, the first we have what this wall of alveoli or this gas exchange surface should be thin. Why it should be thin? So that more process of diffusion take place. We know if the surface is thin, so through that the process of diffusion will be high, through that the exchange of molecule will happen very easily, right? So first is this should be thin. Second, surface area should be more. Remember, alveoli, this wall should be thin. So for that reason, alveolar wall only consists of, this is only one cell layer, like this. Only one cell make a layer. Why it is one cell thick? It is one cell thick so that the process of diffusion take place, right? Another surface area should be more. And we also know that if surface area is more, so the process of diffusion will be high. Is it clear? So surface area should be more so that the process, for that reason, alveoli having spherical shape. So that more area available for the exchange of gases, right? Another point, we have good supply of blood. Another point are blood capillaries, so that more blood reach to this alveoli, right? If it is enriched with blood capillaries, so it means more blood will reach to that alveoli and gas exchange will, more oxygen will go there, more carbon dioxide will go there and more oxygen will enter to that blood. So gas exchange surface should enrich with capillaries so that more exchange of gases take place, right? 4 point, good ventilation system, ventilation. Or more ventilation. Why? It means like more oxygen supply should be to your alveoli. There should be more supply of I should take more and more oxygen that will reach to my gas exchange. So the process of gas exchange will happen efficiently. Right? So these are the properties of gas exchange surfaces. Now, just make it alveoli. Okay, make it clear. Alveoli. 5th point, you can edit here. It's this wall should be permeable. Permeable means substance can pass through it easily, so that it allows the exchange of gases. Okay. All right. Another point, the surface should be moist. Right? Why? so that gases may dissolve in the atmosphere and that can exchange for, like, it will remain there, and after that their exchange will take place more easily, right? So these are the properties of this gas exchange surface. Now let's discuss about parts of gas exchange surface. So remember, boys, this is gas exchange surface, right? Sorry, parts of gas exchange system, right? So the first part we have, which one? Larynx, right? Larynx. This one, larynx, you can see here, right? Larynx is supported by a lid-like structure called epiglottis that prevent the movement of food or the entry of food to this windpipe, right? Above this larynx, we have another structure that is called pharynx, right? So pharynx is the region, pharynx, R-Y-N-X, right? So pharynx is the region through which, up to that region, the food, and up to that region, food plus gas, same. But after that, food will move toward esophagus or toward your food pipe, and air will enter to pharynx. Okay, air will enter to larynx. From larynx, it will enter to trachea. This trachea is actually windpipe, right? In this trachea contain horseshoe-shaped structure, right? That is cartilage. This contains cartilage, soft bone. Function of this cartilage, it is very important. The function of cartilage to keep this airway open, right? So that more and more supply to you of oxygen to your lungs. Okay. Now, it gives support to this trachea, keep the airway open and giving support to trachea. Then this trachea divide into two parts, same structure, but it's become diameter, become narrow. So that is called bronchus. Left bronchus, and this one is right bronchus, this one. Okay, and then this bronchus further divide into thin other structure, right? That is called what? This bronchus still, then it divide into other thin structure when it enter to lungs, and after that it convert into some more small pipes, and that small pipe again convert into more small pipe that having no cartilage. So that small pipes is called what? Bronchiole. And bronchiole into with a sac-like structure or grapes-like structure that is called what? Alveoli. And this is the actual place where gas exchange takes, right? Now, these lungs are supported by what? By a membrane. This membrane you can see. This membrane is called pleural membrane. Lungs and membrane, between lung and membrane contain fluid. That is called pleural fluid. That is to reduce friction when lung is contracting and relaxing, right? This layer down the lungs, you can see this layer that labeled with diaphragm, right? That also play very important role during gas exchange, right? So we will discuss the function of that later on. For time being, just keep it in mind. This layer is called what? Diaphragm, that isolate thoracic region or upper region that contain lung and all heart, right? So that's separate from down abdominal region. Okay. Now this lung is supported by ribs. Already ribs, right? That having bone, right? Now rib, this part, this is bone, your one rib, another, right? Another. So several rib will form what? Rib cage, the protective cover. The protective cover that cover your lungs, right? Now between the bone of ribs, we have special muscle called what? Intercostal muscle. Remember, boys, for example, this is one bone of rib and this is another bone of rib, right? So between that, This muscle is called what? Intercostal muscle. But this muscle having two types. The one that is outside, you can check here. Let's see. The one muscle that is outside, right? So that is called what? You can check here the outside, it's coming outside. That is called external intercostal muscle. This one, this is very important point. This is called external intercostal muscle. And muscle toward lung, that is called what? Internal intercostal muscle. Okay? I hope this is clear to you all. All right, boys, in the last lecture, we discussed about properties of gas exchange surfaces. So the first one we discussed already. To make the gas, the first one, it should be like, to make the gas exchange to be quick and efficient, the gas exchange surfaces should have the following characteristics or characters. Okay, the first one, they are thin. The first one, this should be thin. That's why alveolar wall is only one cell thick. One cell thick. That is only one cell thick. Why only one cell, one cell, one cell? Like, it is one cell thick. Like this is not many layers of cells, only one cell layer. Like only one single wall. Why it is like this? Already if the surface is thin, so the gas exchange will take place efficiently, the process of diffusion will be more. Another point, they are close to efficient transport system to take gases to and from the gas exchange, from the exchange surface. It means they should be close to transport system. In this case, transport system, they should be close to blood system. They should close to blood capillaries so that blood give a carbon dioxide and take oxygen from this alveoli. Right? So they should be close. There should be efficient supply of blood capillaries. There should be more blood capillaries in with alveolar wall, right? And they should have a large surface area. For that reason, alveoli shape is spherical to increase the surface area. If there is more area, so the gas exchange, they will diffuse the diffusion across this these area will be more, right? So they have a large surface area so that a lot of gas can diffuse across the same time. For that reason, the alveolar shape is sac-like. They should have a good supply of oxygen, right? More ventilation. If, when we are doing breathing, why we are doing that? So that we take more oxygen from outside. If more oxygen, if supply of oxygen is more to your lungs and to your alveoli, so the gas exchange will be more. Is it clear? The most important parts of gas exchange system and human are two lungs, right? Now we are discussing about the human breathing system. So two lungs we have. Each lung is filled with many tiny air spaces called what? Air sacs or alveoli, right? Each lung is filled with many tiny air spaces, right? That is covered by a one cell lining. That is called what? Alveoli. This sac-like structures are called what? Alveoli. Okay. Now it is here. This is the place. Alveoli is actually the place where exchange of gases take place, where oxygen diffuse into the blood. For example, this is one alveoli in your lung. Okay. When oxygen enter to your body, right? So that oxygen will reach to alveoli, right? Where during breathing, when you are taking oxygen from outside, that will reach to alveoli. And that oxygen will diffuse to your blood from alveoli by the process of diffusion. Okay? Now, you know, the lungs are supplied with air through the windpipe or trachea. How this oxygen will enter to your body? When you take this oxygen from outside through nose or mouth, so that oxygen will reach to this pipe called what? Trachea. That pipe is called what? Trachea. Let me show you. You can check here, this is gas exchange system. So the first one is larynx. So that oxygen will reach to larynx, and after that it will reach to this pipe called trachea, right? So this trachea contain soft bone called cartilage. Actually, they contain hard shoe-capped structure called what? Cartilage. Several cartilage combine together and form what? Trachea. And the function of this cartilage is to keep this airway open. This is very important. What is the function of cartilage in trachea? To keep this airway open and support the trachea, right? Now, this trachea divides into two pipes. One is left bronchus, another one is right bronchus, these pipes. This is same as trachea, but the diameter decrease. For example, the diameter of that trachea, if you are checking the transverse section of this trachea, for example, it is large, but in bronchi, it will be small. Still, it contains cartilage. Later on, that bronchus divided again and again. At the end, they convert into small other pipes that having no cartilage. Very thin pipes that having no cartilage. That pipes are actually called what? Bronchiole. This one you can see here, bronchiole. And bronchiole end with grape-like structure, right? Or sac-like structure like this, you can see. Okay, so these sac-like structure called what? Alveoli. This is the actual place where gas exchange takes place. This is the actual place through which oxygen enter to your body, oxygen enter to your blood, and carbon dioxide get out from your body by the process of diffusion. Is it clear? Both lungs covered with a membrane. That membrane is called what? Pleural membrane. Between the lungs and membrane, there is fluid called what? Pleural fluid. That reduce the friction during when muscle, you know, when your lungs, during breathing, when it relax and contract and relax at that time, right? If they are taking gas, so definitely it will expand, right? And when it is leaving, it will go back to that position. So to reduce that friction, so that is filled with pleural fluid. That is covered, that, yeah, filled with pleural fluid. Now, down these lungs, this membrane is called what? Diaphragm, that play important role. And during breathing, during exhalation and inhalation, some changes will come in the diaphragm. I will do this later on in exhalation and inhalation topic. Okay. Now you can see here, this is rib cage. Rib cage. This one, the white color show you bone of rib, right? So this one you can see rib cross section. So this is bone, the white color. But one rib and another rib, you can see between these two we have muscle. That muscle is called what? Intercostal muscle. Intercostal muscle. Between these two bones of ribs, that is called what? Intercostal muscle. Intercostal muscle. Remember, boys. Intercostal muscle. Costal muscle. Okay. Now, this intercostal muscle have two types. Okay, let's suppose this is that bone, this is that bone. The muscle that is outward, not toward the lungs, that muscle called what? External intercostal muscle, external from outside. So this is called what? External intercostal muscle. Why, right? While muscle that is toward the lungs, that is called internal intercostal muscle. Both muscle are antagonistic to each other. Antagonistic mean if one contract, another will relax. If one relax, another will contract. This is a general terminology. Antagonistic means that are working opposite of each other. If one is contracting at the same time, another will relax. Just like tricep and bicep muscle. Is it clear? And this contraction and relaxation of internal and external intercostal muscle play an important role during exhalation and inhalation. Okay? Boys, remember the region above larynx, that's called what? Pharynx. Up to pharynx, the food and gas will come. But after that, the gas will move toward larynx. After that, oxygen will move toward larynx, right? And the other food will move, and food will move toward food pipe. Is it clear? This larynx is covered with, by a lid called epiglottis, or what? Epiglottis, like this lid. So that prevent what? Entry of food to your larynx. Entry of, food toward your trachea. Is it clear up to here? So please, if you have any question up to here, you can ask. Remember, boys, larynx also called what? Voice box where sound produced. Okay. And above larynx, the region is called what? Pharynx. Larynx is actually the part of gas exchange system or your breathing system, while pharynx is the part of, like it can count with both digestive system and with breathing system, because in pharynx gas also traveling and food also traveling. After that, food will move toward food pipe and oxygen will move toward larynx. Is it clear? So these are two important things. You should not be confused with these. All right, boys. So the pathways to the lungs, right? So how the gas enter to our body? So as we discussed already that, like gas like oxygen will enter through our nose, right? Mostly, and it can also through your mouth, right? Both nose and mouth are separated by this white colored plate, right? Now, this gas is entering through nose and mouth. It will enter here, it will reach here. So you can check here, this part with us is what? This part. This part is pharynx. And after pharynx, if that is food that we are taking through mouth, so that will enter to this esophagus, that's food pipe. If that is gas, so that will, like if that is oxygen, so that will enter to where? To this part called what? Pharynx, right? So, and after pharynx, it will enter to trachea, that is windpipe. Am I clear? So remember, this pharynx is also called voice box or sound box where sound produced. Okay, and when the gas enter to trachea, after trachea, that trachea will divide into two parts called bronchi, and from bronchi that will enter to lungs and will reach to alveoli. Is it clear up to here? The epiglottis is a leaf-shaped flip of cartilage located behind the tongue at the top of larynx, or larynx also called voice box. The main function of epiglottis is to seal off the windpipe during eating so that food is not accidentally inhaled to your body. So let's check about that epiglottis. If you see here, this part we have this part is what? This part is this upper part, right? This region is larynx, okay? And for example, this is larynx, okay, or voice box. Now this larynx is supported by a lead. That lead is called what? Epiglottis. Function of that epiglottis is to so that food, if definitely you can see here, food is coming here, okay, and after that food is going toward this esophagus, this food pipe. If when food reach here, automatically this epiglottis will close. You can check here, this epiglottis closed, right? So that food may not accidentally enter to your windpipe. So this is the function of epiglottis. Boys, so it's better that we should breathe through nose because, you know, nose filter that air. How that is doing? Because the structure of nose allows the air to become warm, moisture, and filter before it get to lung, right? So how it, you know, like how this function is doing by nose, let's do that. Here in the nose, trap dust particle in the air, so the dust particle may not enter to our lungs. Inside the nose are some thin bones called terminal bones, which covered with a thin layer of cells, and that cells are called what? Goblet cell. This is important point, boys. That cells are called what? Goblet cells. Goblet cell actually produce some mucus. Make a liquid containing water and mucus which evaporate into the air in the nose and moisture. Am I clear? So once again, let me tell you, inside the nose, if you check inside, you will find bones. That bones is called terminal bones. That contain a thin layer of cells, and that cells are actually goblet cells. That produce mucus. So when that mucus containing water, when that evaporate, so what will happen? That will moist the nose. Am I clear up to here? Now this goblet cell also present in our trachea, in our bronchi. The function of this goblet cell is to produce mucus. And that mucus, one side, it's keep it moist, but the second important thing for exam point of view is that this mucus actually trap dust particle, right, or any pathogen trap in that mucus, right? And when we remove that mucus from our respiratory, from our breathing system, that will come to the mouth, and you can, it can enter to your digestive system. Right? Or when you remove that mucus, you can also just you can remove outside. So this is the function of mucus, trapping of pathogen or moisturizing, right? But the important function for exam point of view is to trap dust particle, right? Now, with this mucus, there is also what? With this mucus, there is also other cells that are ciliated cells that contain certain projection that are called what? Ciliated cell. Once again, remember boys, inside our breathing system, right, in trachea, bronchi, these goblet cell having also other ciliated cell. Ciliated cell means they contain some projection. For example, this is cell. This cell contain projection that are called what? Cilia. The function of that cilia is that when ciliated cell doing beating, when that cilia actually, that projection beating, so it is pushing out mucus outside. That once, please focus here more. These are, for example, this is goblet cell. This is producing mucus, and this mucus will, this cilia will beat, and that is pushing that mucus outside from your from your breathing system. Am I clear? So mucus will trap with pathogen or dust will trap with mucus that is producing by goblet cell, and when cilia of ciliated cell beat, so it will, by the beating moment of that, it will come out like this. It will beating, so it is pushing out that mucus outside from your breathing system. Is it clear? Other cells called ciliated cell have a very thin hair-like projection called cilia. The cilia are always moving, and bacteria or particle of dust get trapped in that. And in the mucus, cilia are found along the trachea and bronchi too. So here they waft the mucus containing bacteria and dust up to back of the throat, means that is pushing out that mucus from our breathing system outside, so that it does not block up the lungs, so that that mucus may not block the lungs. Is it okay? All right. Now, the sticky liquid from goblet cell traps pathogen and small particle, preventing them from entering the alveoli, where they could cause infection or physical damage. If this dust particle or this pathogen enter or reach that your alveoli, so that can cause infection or that can also damage that. So the ciliated cell continuously show flaking motion to move the mucus secreted by goblet cell upward or away from the lungs. So that ciliated cell is doing flaking motion continuously so that it remove that mucus from your breathing system that may not block your lungs. When the mucus reach at the top of the trachea, is passed down to the gullet during normal swallowing. It enters to your digestive system. Right? All right, boys. So now write it about the ciliated cell, function of ciliated cell. So as we discuss about goblet cell that producing sticky liquid, right? They trap pathogen and small particle, preventing that from entering to your alveoli, where they can cause infection or physical damage. Now, function of ciliated cell. Function of ciliated cell, we have give a title, function of ciliated cell. Okay, now ciliated cells continuously show flaking motion to move the mucus secreted by the goblet cell upward and away from the lungs. When the mucus reaches the top of the trachea, it passes down the gullet during normal swallowing, which it enters to your digestive system. Am I clear? So please write these two, note it down in your notebook. All right, boys. So from the nose or mouth, the air then passes into windpipe or trachea. At the top of trachea, we have what? Epiglottis. That stop the food may not enter to our trachea. This is actually reflex action that happen automatically when bolus of food, full food, when they touch the soft plate just below the epiglottis, when it touch that place, so automatically, that epiglottis will close and, the food will enter to your food pipe. Just below the epiglottis, we have larynx. Larynx, also called voice box, that contain vocal cord, right? Vocal cord is actually, this is just like two flaps that is producing sound. The trachea is a ring of cartilage around it. It keeps that open Trachea is the ring of cartilage that keep that open, right? As I discussed with you the function of trachea. Now you can see here, this one is larynx, trachea. You can see here this trachea, right? Am I clear up to here? I hope this is clear up to here, right? And this one, trachea, left bronchus, right bronchus, alveoli, and bronchioles, right? And this you can see covered by ribs, and this one we have diaphragm. Trachea. Now bronchi, the trachea goes down through the neck, right? Trachea goes down through the neck and into thorax. Into the thorax. The thorax is the upper part of your body, from the neck down to the bottom of the rib. So this upper part, from neck down to the up to diaphragm, this part is called thorax. In the thorax, the trachea divide into two. The two bronchi are called what? Right and left. It divide into two, that are called what? Bronchi. Am I clear? One bronchi and another. You can see here bronchi, one and another. This is what bronchi. When this trachea divide into two parts and entering to where? To lung. So now this part is called what? This is called bronchi. One bronchus goes to each lung and then branches out into small tube called what? Bronchioles. So this bronchi will then convert into, it will divide again and again and will convert into small thin tube. The tube not contain cartilage. That is called what? Bronchioles. You can see here, this is bronchiole, right? And after that, this bronchiole ends with what? With many sac-like structure, that sac-like structure called alveoli. This is the place where gas exchange takes place. This is the place from which oxygen enter to your blood. You can check here this alveoli, and alveoli is covered with this one is bronchiole, and this grape-like structure is alveoli. The blue lines represent what? Capillaries. So that is covered with many capillaries. So that capillaries take oxygen and give carbon dioxide to your alveoli. Am I clear? So this grape-like structure are called what? Alveoli. Now, ring of cartilage, trachea, bronchus, and lungs, right? Alveoli, right? And is it clear up to here? And this one is bronchiole. Bronchiole ends with grape-like structure called alveoli. And once again, you check here from pulmonary artery, right? From pulmonary artery up, this is coming from your heart. So this artery will bring deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated means that's having more carbon dioxide, okay? That's having carbon dioxide. So that will come from your heart. This will come from your heart, pulmonary artery. And when it reaches to alveoli, within alveoli, what will happen? Oxygen will mix with that. And when oxygen will mix, so now the blood become oxygenated. You can check this red color. And this will go back toward your heart through pulmonary vein. Through pulmonary vein. This oxygenated blood will go where? It will go to heart. And heart will push this oxygen blood to all part of your body. This blood to all part of your body. And this blood will give what? Oxygen to all part of your body. And again that heart, that blood will come to heart, and from pulmonary artery, through pulmonary artery, it will come again to your lung. Once again, listen me here. What is happening? From this pulmonary artery will bring deoxygenated blood from heart. Okay, and when it enters to alveoli, right, so that will convert into capillaries, and that capillaries will give carbon dioxide by the process of diffusion. It will go and oxygen will enter to that capillary. So now after that the blood will become oxygenated. You can check here, and that oxygenated blood will go through pulmonary vein to what? To heart. And heart will then push that blood to all parts of your body. Why? So that oxygen, through that blood, oxygen will reach to all parts of your body, cells or tissue. Okay? As we discussed already that, that alveoli wall should be thin, right? We discussed this already. If you see here in this diagram, right, this is your air space in alveoli, right? Air space in alveoli, this one. You can see, check here, this is actually capillaries. Capillaries contain red blood cell, right? This red color is actually red blood cell. Now, this is actually the lining of what? Lining of capillaries. This is the lining of capillaries. One cell thick lining. This is lining up. Sorry, this is lining of alveoli, and the down is lining of capillary. Okay. Now, this is air space in alveoli. Now, air will move. Oxygen will move from this alveoli to red blood cell, and carbon dioxide will come toward this alveoli, to this air space of alveoli, and then it will move. Okay, so it should be thin, and it is one cell thick. If you take this lining of alveoli, so that will consist of many cells will combine together, but one cell thick. Like this, they will make a layer. Like this, one cell thick, not like this, that another layer of cell, another, no, only one cell thick lining. So this layer of alveoli is one cell thick, and it is very close to capillaries. Okay. Now, the capillary wall also one cell thick. That is also one cell thick. If you check this capillary wall, so this one is also one thick cell thick. To decrease the, if it is more thin, so more diffusion will happen. Okay, oxygen molecule only has to diffuse across this small thickness to get into the blood. Boys, now look at here, you can understand from this also very well. Same diagram, but it's more clear. Check it here. This is the lining wall of alveoli, right? You can see here, wall of alveoli. This one we have. This one we have wall of alveoli. This one wall of alveoli, right? This one is this one, this near one. So this one is lining or wall of the capillary, right? And you can check here inside that capillary, this red color is what? This red color we have, the red color that I'm taking. These are what? These are red blood cells. Okay. Now, oxygen from carbon dioxide, first of all, oxygen will diffuse into the blood by passing through the wall of alveoli and capillary, and that will reach to red blood cell, and it will combine with the hemoglobin part of red blood cell, and that red blood cell will take to your body cell. While carbon dioxide that already reached through blood, here to that is present in capillaries, that carbon dioxide will pass through capillary wall and then alveolar wall and will enter to the air space in alveoli, and then that will go, right? Definitely it will enter to bronchioles, bronchus, trachea, and like that you will exhale that. Okay. Is it clear up to here? Now, remember that the blood that, for example, it is your heart, okay? From heart, deoxygenated blood will bring by pulmonary artery to lungs, right? This is your lungs. And from lungs, oxygenated blood, because mixing of oxygen will happen in the lungs, right? So that oxygenated blood will come through pulmonary vein to where? To your heart. So yeah, to your heart. Very good. To your heart, and from the heart it will then go to all part of our body. But this topic we will do this in circulatory system in detail, and that lesson we will do it, blood circulation. But for time being, just keep it in your mind that deoxygenated blood will come to our lung through pulmonary artery, while when oxygen mixed with that in the lungs, so that blood will go back to the heart through pulmonary vein, and heart will then push that blood to all part of our body. All right, you can see here, boys, this one is pulmonary artery is bringing deoxygenated blood, right? Pulmonary artery bring here deoxygenated blood. You can check this arrow, right? And this one is, right? And this one later on convert into capillaries. So this is deoxygenated blood, but when it gives oxygen to alveoli, so that will become what? Oxygenated alveoli will, sorry, when it give carbon dioxide to alveoli, and oxygen will mix with that blood from alveoli, right? So that oxygenated blood will then move toward your heart. Okay.